You worked your whole life, and now one quiet question keeps following you everywhere. How much retirement income will your salary actually give you when the paychecks finally stop? Not the brochure number, not the fantasy number, not the number your coworker bragged about. The real number, the one that pays the mortgage, the groceries, the insurance, the gas. Because most people in America are walking toward retirement with a blurry picture in their head. They know their salary, they know their age, but the income side stays foggy. And that fog is exactly where fear, panic, and bad decisions love to grow quietly. So today, we are going to make that number clear, calm, and finally honest. We will talk about what someone earning $50,000, $80,000, or $150,000 can really expect. We'll talk about Social Security, your 401k, your savings, and your habits. But more importantly, we will talk about the psychology behind why people misjudge this number. Because the math is not the hard part, the emotions around the math are the hard part. If you have ever felt behind, confused, or quietly anxious about retirement, this is for you. You are not lazy, you are not stupid, you are not actually as behind as you fear. You have just been handed advice that was too vague to ever feel useful in real life. Let us fix that today, calmly, clearly, and with numbers that actually mean something to you. Most Americans assume retirement income works like a smaller version of their current paycheck. They think if they earn $100,000 now, they will somehow get $80,000 later. That assumption is comforting, but it is also one of the most dangerous beliefs in personal finance. Because retirement income does not come from one source, it comes from three uneven streams. Social Security gives you one slice, your retirement accounts give another, and savings cover the rest. Each stream behaves differently, and each one is shaped by decisions you make decades in advance. So let us walk through what these streams actually look like for real American salary levels. We will keep it grounded, practical, and honest, the way real planning should always feel. Imagine someone earning $50,000 a year for most of their working life in America. Their Social Security benefit, in 2026 dollars, lands somewhere around $1,800 per month. That is roughly $21,600 per year before taxes are taken out. Which means Social Security alone replaces around 43% of their working income. That sounds decent until you remember rent, healthcare, food, and utilities did not shrink with retirement. Now at a modest 401k balance, maybe $150,000 at retirement age. Using a careful 4% withdrawal rate, that adds around $6,000 per year. So the total retirement income for that $50,000 earner becomes about $27,000 annually. That is a real number, not a scary one, but it tells a very specific story. It tells you that without intentional saving, retirement at $50,000 becomes tight, not comfortable. And tight is not failure, but it is also not the freedom most people quietly imagined. Now let us walk up the ladder to someone earning $80,000 per year in America. Their Social Security benefit lands closer to $2,400 per month at full retirement age. That is around $28,800 per year, which feels stronger but still not enough. Because Social Security only replaces about 36% of income at this earnings level. The system is designed that way on purpose to support lower earners more aggressively than higher ones. So the $80,000 earner needs their own savings to do significantly more of the heavy lifting. If they saved consistently and built a 401k balance of $300,000. The 4% rule gives them another $12,000 per year of relatively safe withdrawals. Their total retirement income lands around $40,000 annually before taxes and Medicare premiums hit. That is half of their working salary, which is the gap most people never see coming. Now let us look at someone earning $150,000 per year in America. This is where the illusion of safety becomes the most dangerous because the income looks impressive. Their Social Security benefit caps out around $3,100 per month at full retirement age. That is roughly $37,200 per year, which sounds large until you do the math. Because that benefit only replaces about 25% of their previous working income now. The higher you earn, the smaller the percentage Social Security covers when you finally retire. If they built a 401k of $700,000 or steady contributions and matches, a 4% withdrawal adds another $28,000 per year of dependable retirement income. Their total income lands around 65,000, which feels jarring after years of 150. This is the gap that quietly terrifies high earners and rarely gets discussed in honest detail. Now pause for a moment, because this next idea is more important than any single number. Retirement income is not really a math problem. It is a behavior problem dressed in numbers. Two people earning the same salary often end up with completely different retirement realities later. One feels free, the other feels trapped, and the difference is rarely about luck or timing. The difference is whether they treated their lifestyle as fixed or as something that quietly expanded. Lifestyle inflation is the silent thief that turns high salaries into average retirement outcomes. Every raise that becomes a bigger car, a bigger house, or a bigger habit shrinks future freedom. You are not just buying things, you are also buying a higher floor you must keep funding. And that higher floor follows you into retirement whether your income follows you there or not. So when people ask why their salary did not translate into retirement comfort, this is why. They funded their identity instead of funding their future, and identity is expensive to maintain quietly. This is where Social Security becomes emotional, not just financial, for so many Americans approaching retirement. People treat it as a guaranteed paycheck, almost like a parent who will always show up. But Social Security was never designed to be your full retirement plan, only one supportive piece. It was built to replace a portion of income, not to replace your entire working life. When you understand that, the panic shifts into planning, and planning is where power actually lives. Because the moment you accept the real percentage Social Security covers, you stop expecting magic later. And once you stop expecting magic, you start making smaller, smarter decisions that quietly compound forward. Now let us talk about the 401k, because most people misunderstand it deeply. A 401k is not a retirement plan. It is a tool inside a retirement plan. The match is not a bonus. It is part of your compensation that you must claim. If your employer offers a 5% match and you contribute 0, you lost that money. You did not save it, you did not delay it, you simply gave it back to your employer. That is not caution. That is fear dressed up as patience, and it costs you for decades. A Roth IRA is the second tool people overlook, especially in the middle of their career. It grows tax-free, it withdraws tax-free, and it gives you control over future tax exposure. Most Americans focus only on the 401k because that is the one HR mentioned. But quiet wealth often comes from combining accounts, not from worshiping one and ignoring the others. Here's the part nobody tells you about retirement income that I want you to hear. The 4% withdrawal rule is a guideline, not a guarantee, and conditions can change quickly. Inflation can shrink that income, market drops can shake your confidence in the worst possible years. Healthcare costs can rise faster than benefits, and long-term care can quietly erase decades of savings. This is not meant to scare you, it is meant to free you from a comforting illusion. Because once you see the real risks, you stop relying on hope and start relying on structure. Structure means you save consistently, you invest broadly, and you keep your fixed expenses calm. Structure means your retirement does not depend on the market being kind in one specific year. Structure means you have flexibility, and flexibility is worth more than any single optimistic projection. Now let us talk about the emotional pattern that wrecks more retirement plans than any market crash. It is the pattern of avoidance, of refusing to look at the numbers because the numbers feel scary. People avoid logging into their retirement accounts the same way they avoid stepping on a scale. They tell themselves they will deal with it later, but later quietly turns into too late. If this is you, hear this clearly, you are not lazy, you are protecting yourself from shame. But shame is a terrible financial advisor, because shame keeps you frozen instead of moving forward. The fastest way to break that pattern is to look once, calmly, without judging what you see. Just look, write down the numbers, and let the truth become information instead of a threat. Information you can work with, but a threat in the dark only grows louder over time. Now let me give you exact phrases you can use when retirement pressure shows up in real life. When someone pushes you toward a bigger house, you can say, "That does not fit my plan." When a coworker brags about a new car, you can quietly say, "I am choosing long-term freedom." When a salesperson rushes you, you can say, "I need flexibility, not pressure, and I can wait." When family compares lifestyles, you can say, "I am not buying this to impress anyone right now." When a financial product feels confusing, you can say, "Run the numbers first, then we can talk." These phrases are not slogans, they are quiet boundaries that protect your retirement from social erosion. Most retirement plans are not destroyed by one big decision. They are destroyed by many small concessions. A bigger car here, a bigger vacation there, a bigger house because everyone else upgraded too. Each one feels small, but together they reshape the floor of your life into a higher cage. And cages, no matter how nicely decorated, still trap you when retirement income arrives smaller than expected. Now let us address the high earner trap that catches so many professionals in their 50s. You earned well, you worked hard, and you assumed your salary would handle the future automatically. But high income with low wealth is one of the most common patterns in America today. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, executives, all earning well, all retiring with surprisingly thin retirement income streams. Because high income did not protect them, lifestyle expansion quietly absorbed every raise they ever received. If this is you, the answer is not panic. The answer is decision discipline starting right now. Cap your lifestyle at its current level, redirect every future raise into investing, and let compounding work. Even 10 years of intentional saving in your 50s can dramatically reshape your retirement reality later. It is not too late, but it does require choosing freedom over appearance, quietly and consistently. Now let us talk about the difference between healthy caution and fear-based caution in retirement planning. Healthy caution looks like keeping an emergency fund, avoiding risky individual stocks, and living below your means. Fear-based caution looks like keeping everything in cash because the market once scared you years ago. Healthy caution protects your future. Fear-based caution quietly guarantees you will outlive your money. Cash feels safe, but inflation is a slow leak that drains purchasing power year after year. $20,000 today does not buy what $20,000 bought 10 years ago, and you know it. So sitting in cash is not safety, it is a different kind of risk wearing a calm mask. Real safety in retirement comes from diversification, time in the market, and a withdrawal plan you trust. Now let us add one nuance most retirement videos skip because it makes the topic uncomfortable. Not every debt should be aggressively paid off before you retire, even though it feels intuitive. A low-interest mortgage locked in years ago may be cheaper than the return on your investments. Throwing extra money at that mortgage might feel emotionally satisfying, but mathematically, it can slow your wealth. This does not mean carry debt forever, it means make the decision with numbers, not just feelings. Sometimes the best money decision is psychological first and mathematical second, and that is genuinely okay. If carrying any debt into retirement keeps you awake at night, paying it off is the right move. But if you can hold a low-rate mortgage calmly, your investments may serve you better long-term. The point is, run the numbers first, then decide instead of letting fear make the choice silently. Now let us talk about timing, because when you retire often matters more than how much you saved. Retiring at 62 locks in a permanently smaller Social Security benefit for the rest of your life. Waiting until full retirement age increases that benefit, and waiting until 70 increases it even more dramatically. For many people, waiting just a few extra years can add hundreds of thousands in lifetime benefits. This is not about working forever, it is about understanding what each year of waiting actually buys. Sometimes one more year of work is worth 2 or 3 years of stress-free retirement later. Sometimes it is not, especially if your health, your job, or your family situation makes waiting unwise. There is no universal answer, only the answer that fits your numbers, your body, and your life. Now let us talk about housing, because housing decisions silently shape retirement income more than almost anything else. A paid-off home in retirement is one of the most powerful financial assets an American can hold. It removes a massive monthly expense and turns your retirement income from tight to actually comfortable. But chasing a bigger home in your 40s can delay that paid-off moment by a full decade. That decade matters, because every year you carry a mortgage in retirement is a year income gets stretched. So when someone tells you to upgrade because your family deserves more space, ask one quiet question. Will this bigger house give me more freedom, or will it quietly take freedom away from future me? That single question has saved more retirement plans than any spreadsheet ever printed in financial history. Now, let us talk about cars, because car payments are quietly destroying retirement readiness for millions of Americans. The average new car payment in America is now over $700 per month. Carry that for 30 years, and you spend over $250,000 on transportation alone. That same amount, invested in a simple index fund, could have become well over $1 million. You are not just buying a car, you are choosing between a vehicle and a future paycheck. Most people never see that trade-off because the dealership only shows them the monthly payment. But the monthly payment is the trick, the lifetime cost is the truth, and the truth always wins eventually. When a car salesperson pressures you, the phrase you need is simple: that payment is too high. You do not have to explain, you do not have to justify, you just have to mean it. Do not justify your financial boundaries because every justification gives someone else room to negotiate against you. Now let us bring this all together with a final reframe that I want you to carry forward. Retirement income is not a reward for working hard. It is a reflection of decisions made along the way. Every raise, every purchase, every contribution, every delay, every upgrade slowly built the income you will receive. If your projected number scares you, that fear is not a verdict, it is just useful information. Information you can act on starting today, even if today feels late, even if today feels small. Because the truth is, most people who feel behind are closer to safety than they actually realize. They just need clarity instead of comparison, structure instead of shame, and patience instead of panic. You do not need to catch up to anyone. You only need to move toward your own number. Your number is personal, your timeline is personal, and your retirement does not have to look like anyone else. Some people will retire on $40,000 and feel free. Others will retire on $100,000 and feel trapped. The difference is never the income. The difference is always the relationship between income and lifestyle. Keep the lifestyle calm, keep the savings consistent, keep the debt intentional, and the income will follow. Keep checking your accounts without flinching, keep adjusting without shame, and keep deciding without social pressure. That is what real retirement planning actually looks like: quiet, steady, and rooted in self-respect. Not flashy, not loud, not dramatic, just deliberate decisions repeated across years that quietly compound into freedom. So the next time someone asks how much retirement income your salary will give you, you will know. You will know the Social Security piece, the savings piece, the lifestyle piece, and the behavior piece. You will know that the number is not fixed, it is shaped, and you are the one shaping it. You will know that being behind is not the same as being lost, and clarity is always available. And you will know that the most powerful retirement tool is not a stock, a fund, or a strategy. It is the calm decision to stop performing financial success and start quietly building it instead. If this gave you clarity, take one small action today. Look at your retirement accounts without judging anything. Just look, write the numbers down, and let that be the first honest step toward your real plan. Then come back, share what you learned in the comments, and tell me which insight hit you hardest. If this kind of calm financial thinking helps you, subscribe so the next decision feels even clearer. You are not behind, you are not broken, and you are not alone in figuring this out slowly. You are simply someone making better decisions now than the version of you who started this video. And that quiet shift repeated over time is exactly how real financial freedom actually gets built in America.